Every day, new issues compete for your attention. Some dominate headlines, feeds, and conversations. Others barely appear before quietly disappearing again. It creates the feeling that certain issues matter more, that they are urgent, important, and impossible to ignore, while everything else seems distant or less significant. But what if that hierarchy isn't completely natural? What if attention itself is being shaped over time? Not by accident, but through layered systems. Because not every issue becomes visible at scale, and not every issue stays in front of you long enough to feel like it truly matters. There's a system behind what rises to the surface and what quietly fades before you ever notice. It starts with selection at the very beginning. Editors decide which stories become major headlines. Producers determine what gets airtime and repetition. And repetition is what builds importance in your mind. At the same time, timing plays a critical role. Some stories are released when attention is highest. Others are introduced when attention is divided, and that timing alone changes how much they spread. Then, algorithms begin shaping what you actually see. They track what you engage with, click, and watch, and they prioritize content that holds your attention longer, which means the system favors what performs well, not necessarily what is most important in reality. Emotionally charged topics tend to travel further. They generate stronger reactions and more engagement, which signals the system to amplify them even more. And once something starts gaining momentum, it begins reinforcing itself through repetition. More exposure leads to more discussion. More discussion leads to more engagement. More engagement leads to even more exposure. It becomes a cycle that builds perceived importance, until it feels like that issue dominates everything. Meanwhile, other issues struggle to break through, not because they lack significance or impact, but because they never reach that same visibility loop. They appear briefly, then fade out of attention, before they ever become part of the conversation. Over time, this creates a filtered version of reality, where it feels like only certain issues truly matter. Not because they are the only ones that exist, but because they are the only ones consistently seen. And when something is seen repeatedly, it starts to feel more urgent and more important, even if nothing about it has actually changed. That's where perception begins to shift. People talk about what they've been exposed to. They prioritize what feels immediate and visible. They focus on what seems to dominate attention, which means attention itself becomes influence. Not because people consciously chose it that way, but because it was consistently placed in front of them. And over time, that repeated exposure shapes what feels important, relevant, and urgent, until it feels like the system is reflecting reality, when in many ways, it's helping define it. So the next time a specific issue seems unavoidable, and it feels like everyone is talking about it, take a step back and look at it differently. Why this issue? Why now? And just as importantly, what isn't being shown at the same time. If you found this video interesting, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss all the deep dives into the systems shaping our world, and the truth behind them that you may not hear every day. And if you know other independent thinkers who want to understand what's really happening behind the headlines, share this video with them. Then help out the algorithm. Hit that like button and leave a comment below. Your support helps the channel reach more viewers. Are you ready for the next truth test? Let's go.